A bounty bar, man. It's just a bounty bar. It's one of those things you either love or you hate. And I know that if you're from the US, you don't even know what the hell this is. Well, that is because you know this under a different name, and that is the Mounds bar.
1/2 a Mounds bar?
What? Who eats a Mounds bar?
I do.
My whole life, I don't think I've ever seen a single person eat a Mounds bar.
Well, you're about to see one now.
And I know they don't get much love in the US, but at least in my country, these are really popular. I see people eat these on the street, not like not like Family Guy puts it, and I also love them. So of course I needed to make an anabolic version of it because I love coconut, I love chocolate, I love both of them together. Why not? So if you're into that, if you like coconut, if you like chocolate, if you like an anabolic candy bar recipe, then stick around and let's see how we can make the anabolic bounty bar or Mounds bar. Roll the intro. Okay, so we'll start by making the coconut filling first. We're gonna use our trusty food scale and we'll use the Ninja Blender attachment for this first part of the recipe. We'll start by adding 100 grams or 100 milliliters of skimmed milk, 20 grams of vanilla flavored whey protein powder. If you have coconut flavored, that will work even better. I just have vanilla, so that will have to do. Next we'll add just a pinch of xanthan gum, like 0.5 grams. That's it. The scale didn't even pick it up. Next we'll add 20 grams of powdered erythritol. And we'll enhance the coconut flavor by adding just a single drop of coconut extract. Don't overdo it with the coconut extract or it will start tasting bitter. So just a single drop. We need to enhance the coconut just a bit because the regular stuff is not enough to flavor this the proper way. Now we'll just blend it up in our Ninja Blender. That's it. You only need like 30 seconds of blending. Now we'll need a saucepan because we need to apply some heat to this. We'll move our mixture to the saucepan. And it's a gooey texture right now, which is exactly what we want. We don't want this to be too dry. We're gonna apply heat to it and it will evaporate, so we need to have that moisture factor in there. And on top, we're gonna add shredded coconut. Now, regarding the coconut, there is a light version you can find. To me, this is the lightest version. It has 376 calories per 100 grams. The regular coconut flakes have around 600 to 700 calories, so if you can't find the light version, then you can mix some of the regular coconut flakes with some coconut flour. You can add 20 grams of coconut flour and 20 grams of coconut flakes to this, if you can't find the light version of coconut flakes. I can find them, so I'm adding 40 grams of the light shredded coconut flakes. I'll just give it a bit of a mix. And immediately the coconut will start absorbing the liquid. That's the consistency you get. So you have to let it set for like 5 minutes so the coconut can hydrate and it will absorb most of the moisture in here. In the meantime, we'll move over to the stove. I'm gonna be moving my gear and we need to apply some heat to this. Let's go to the stove. Right, so it's been 5 minutes. It's already hardened up a bit, but we'll need to evaporate some of this moisture and keep all of that gooiness intact, so we can shape this by hand. We only need to evaporate enough so it can maintain its shape. If we overdo it on this step, it will become too dry and it won't taste as good. Just use medium heat and stir, making sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. A non-stick saucepan will help in this regard. And this step will only take you about 5 minutes or so. But again, don't overdo it. Don't make it too dry. Just enough so it holds its shape. And you can test for the consistency by just pinching it. You just feel it. If it's too moist and you feel you can't shape this in your hand, then it's not ready yet. So when it starts sticking together into a ball and then maintain its shape, that's when you know you are done. So this is the consistency we're looking for. This is done. We're gonna let this cool down for a bit, and we're gonna shape it into the candy bar shapes that we want as soon as it cools down and we can manipulate it. Okay, so this has cooled down just enough so we can handle it. As you can see, it holds its shape. It's a bit gooey. We can make our shapes out of it. And I don't know if the Mounds bar is the same, but the Bounty bar is actually 2 mini bars into one. So we're gonna be making 6 of these mini. This is how the Bounty bar looks like. It's a small 28 gram mini bar. So we're gonna be making 6 of these. So we're gonna be splitting this into 6 equal parts. Just get a plate. And this averages out to about 22 grams. So we're gonna wet our hands a bit so we can handle this to prevent it from sticking to our hands. So with our wet hands, just gonna be scooping out some of the stuff. This is just if you wanna be picky about it. We'll add pieces of 22 grams so we can have an even split. But you can eyeball it, of course, you don't have to be so precise. I just want to get this nice and equal for the video. When I make this for myself, I don't split them evenly, I just eyeball it. And 22, that's the last one. So 22 grams on the money for each of these Bounty bars, Mounds bars, whatever bars, chocolate coconut bars. So we'll try to get them into shape. Try to be as accurate as we can, but it's not really a must. You can shape these into balls, you can shape these into whatever shapes you want. I'm just trying to get these close to the original because we're making a homemade Bounty bar, so the shape will matter. And I'll continue to shape each and every one of these to match the original. And there we go. Those are our Bounty bars, Mounds bar, pretty close to the original. And we're gonna put these in the freezer because we need to get these cold. No, we're not eating them cold, we're not eating them frozen. We're just putting them in the freezer, so when we apply the chocolate to it, it can harden up immediately. When that hot chocolate hits the cold coconut, it will harden up and it won't make a sticky mess everywhere. So put them in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes and then we can make our chocolate coating. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes and we can start assembling our chocolate. So we'll need to get a microwave friendly bowl, and to that bowl we're gonna add 20 grams of powdered erythritol and 20 grams of coconut oil. We'll just set this aside for now because in a separate bowl we're gonna be adding 10 grams of a good tasting cocoa powder. Find the one that tastes best to you. We'll add 10 grams. And we're gonna be making a milk chocolate instead of a dark chocolate for this one. I know the Mounds bar has a dark chocolate, but I'm replicating the Bounty bar, which has a milk chocolate, and in my opinion tastes better with the coconut than dark chocolate. I tried both, but the milk chocolate was the winner. So in order to make milk chocolate on top of the cocoa powder, we're gonna be adding 10 grams of milk powder. Okay, so give these a good mix. And we're gonna melt our erythritol and coconut oil for 30 seconds in the microwave and then combine the two to get our chocolate coating. That's what it looks like when it's melted. I'm just gonna add our cocoa and milk powder in there and give it a good mix. And this will be our chocolate to cover the coconut bars. And we're gonna be moving quick about it because this will begin to harden up once it cools down. So I'm gonna get the coconut bars real quick. Get a wire rack, put a plate underneath it in order to prevent making a mess. Get them out of the freezer, move them to the wire rack, get a silicone brush and start coating these with chocolate. The bottom you can just dip in the chocolate. You can just cover up any areas that got missed in the process. If you see any white spots, make sure you get them. And move this to the fridge and let the chocolate set for about 5 minutes. And then we'll be good to go for the taste test. And here we are, my favorite part of the video and yours as well, the taste test. We have 6 bounty bars. Should I call these bars or mini bars, because it's basically 2 bars in one. But I say we did a pretty good job in replicating the original. Well, not the exact shape, but whatever. As far as grams is concerned, this is 28 grams. This is 28 grams. So we did a pretty good job in that. This is the perfect way we can compare these side by side, especially the calories and macros. Here are the calories and macros for the real bounty bar, 28 grams of it. And here are the calories and macros for my anabolic version of the bounty bar. So I know this is not the usual 3 times better because it's coconut, man. Coconut has a lot of fat, then we need fat for the chocolate. There's just no way you can reduce the fat any further and still have it taste at least decent, because if you start cutting back on the fat, you won't get the proper consistency and you won't get the proper taste. So this is the thing about this way of eating, this lifestyle. You need to make the food, you need to make your recipes taste good. If you make them too low in calories, you lose the taste. It's somewhere a balance, you know, between taste and calories. You need to find that middle ground between taste and good calories and macros. So for this particular recipe, these are the best macros I could come up with that still taste pretty similar to the original, and we can call this a true copycat anabolic recipe. Okay, enough blabbering. Let's get to the taste test, shall we? I'll start with the original first. Okay. Again, I'm not sure how popular these are for you, but I really like these. But I like coconut, I like the chocolate for this, I like the bounty bar. Now let's try the anabolic version. This is the one I split apart earlier. So right off the bat, the anabolic version has more volume. There is more coconut in here. But let's see how the flavor stacks up. This is quite interesting because there are 2 parts to this recipe. There is the coconut interior and the chocolate exterior. The coconut interior is better in the anabolic version, but the chocolate is better in the original. But this was to be expected because you can make homemade chocolate taste as good as the factory made chocolate. It's really hard to make chocolate at home that can replicate the factory made chocolate. You can if you just melt some chocolate on top of these, but that will increase the calories by quite a bit and it will get really close to this. So I tried that. The calories weren't all that lower than the original. Of course the protein was higher, but there needed to be a compromise made. So this this was the best alternative. But even though the chocolate doesn't taste as good as the original, the coconut interior sure does. So it's your choice. If you want to have it a 9 on 10 to the real deal, you need to melt some chocolate on top of it and it will taste real close to the original. If you want lower calories, then you can make the homemade version of the chocolate as you've seen in this video, and it will be an 8, 8.5 out of 10. I like it the way it is right now, because for the same calories and more protein, I can eat 2 of these instead of just 1 of these. So there you have it. I'm not stretching this video out any longer than it needs to be. If you like this type of content, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon so you get notified every time I put out a new awesome recipe such as this one. Give this video a big like, hit me up in the comment section, hit me up on Instagram, check my lowest calorie cookbook, this recipe is already included there, and until next time, always remember, you can do it, everyone can, no exceptions.